Hello everybody! Ahead of the release of our first look at the Dark Elves campaign tomorrow, we wanted to take you on a tour of the entire Vortex map for Total War Warhammer II. This video will lift the fog of war and show you the starting locations of all the playable races and sub-factions. The locations of Skaven clans will still be hidden, but for the explorers out there who want to discover the new world for themselves, be mindful that minor spoilers are ahead. Riddled with chaos, corruption and roaming Norskin tribes, we'll start out in the Aghall Wasteland, the most northeastern point of the map. We're journeying south now past Albion toward the north of Ulthuan, where the weather clears up a bit and we encounter the hardy sea folk of Kothic. As we venture further south along the chain of sporadic islands of the Eastern Ocean, you'll notice a lot of dangerous and difficult to navigate rocks by the cliffs, a hazard for any seagoing army. As we crest around the southeast of Ulthuan, the mountains cast long shadows on the islands of Yvresse. These islands are rich in treasures and exotic sea creatures. Many a plucky explorer has ventured out here looking to make himself rich, only to never be seen again. Now we arrive at our first playable faction, Lothern under the legendary lord Tyrion of the High Elves. Tyrion starts with a large group of High Elf factions at his back, so has a relatively comfortable start position that can be bolstered with trade and defensive pacts to make Ulthuan an impenetrable fortress. Turning south now, we'll venture across the Shark Straits to the Land of Assassins next to the coast of Araby, currently inhabited by several Bretonnian crusaders who've claimed this land for the Lady. The dwarfs of Cobra Pass need pay no attention in their sandy mountain holes as beastmen tribes run rampant along the coastline. Across the land of the Dervishes lies Sudenburg and the Necrarch Brotherhood, factions in constant battle for the control of the shifting sands, while the Greenskins of Arachnos fight for control of Karakzoan. Here we encounter our second playable faction. Along the coast of ruins is where we can find the last defenders, led by Kroq-Gar of the Lizardmen. Aside from roaming beastmen armies, Skaven hordes gather here, no doubt an indication that the ruins here may be infested with the Vermintide. Southward along the shifting mangrove coastline reveals a beautiful coral reef, flanked by a string of ruined settlements. Armies will find landing at these beaches troublesome, as many ships will become stranded and bogged down among the deadly ocean banks, and exploring the ruins can yield riches or awaken unknown ancient magic. Our third playable faction is Clan Moors, led by Queek Headtaker of the Skaven. The High Elves of the Fortress of Dawn have ventured deep into the southern jungles where Queek Headtaker has an ambush lying in wait. Once dealt with, Queek will only have to look north for conquest. Across the expansive churning gulf we arrive at the High Elf-owned Citadel of Dusk, at the southernmost tip of Lustria. The majority of Lustria is comprised of ancient ruins, jungles and swamplands, with the dwarf-controlled spine of Sotek forming the mountainous backbone of the continent. Onwards now to our fourth playable faction at the Turtle Isles, we have the Order of Lore Masters under legendary Lord Teclis of the High Elves. Teclis is quite isolated out here and surrounded by enemies. He'll have a tough time clearing the coastline and linking up with any other High Elf factions. Across the spine of Sotek we venture out to our fifth playable faction, Clan Pestilence led by Lord Skrolk of the Skaven. Surrounded by the Lizardmen faction of the Southern Sentinels, Lord Skrolk will also find it difficult to push out of the Lost Valley and establish a foothold in the vast jungles of the south. Working our way north now beyond the ruins of the volcanic islands, we arrive at the Vampire Coast, a corrupted and tainted region eroding away at the lush jungles of the Mosquito Swamps. Further north, beyond the Settlers' Coast at the Isthmus of Lustria, we have our sixth playable faction, Hexodal led by Lord Mazdamundi of the Lizardmen. Mazdamundi is in a bit of a tough spot. He's surrounded by Norskin settlers of the Skeggi, the Greenskin Blue Vipers, and the man-controlled New World colonies, as well as bordering several ruined settlements. Along the far sea beyond the Fallen Gates we encounter the corrupted wastelands of the Ashen Coast. These are harsh lands that few dare to colonize, and where even fewer survive. Eastward across the Iron Peaks, we have our seventh playable faction, the Cult of Pleasure led by Morathi of the Dark Elves. She spreads her corruption across Naggaroth, consuming all who come into contact with it, friend and foe alike. Naggaroth is largely the theatre of the Dark Elves. The coastlines are all inhabited with different Dark Elf factions, and the climate is suitably cold and barren, echoing the torture and death that can be heard billowing out across these lands. Finally, we'll venture along the Sea of Chill to the Sea of Malice, arriving at our last playable faction, Naggarond, under Malekith, the Witch King of the Dark Elves. So that's it for our quick tour around the Vortex campaign map for Total War Warhammer 2. Tomorrow, we'll join Malekith midway into the campaign as he leads an invasion of Ulthuan. We hope you've enjoyed the video, and remember to subscribe for more exclusive Total War content.